state of emergency.
There's going to be pretty broad impacts.
Miami, now the farthest part of Florida from Hurricane Ian's cone. As Florida's evacuees arrive in one state,
a little scary.
Help arrives from another. And an attempt at redirecting an asteroid is broadcast live by NASA.
To protect our own planet.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Leanne Abutarbush.
I'm Amanda Gray. Today's Tuesday, September 27th, 2022.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
It's a bad morning for Floridians hoping for good news about Ian. The storm is now a major Category 3 hurricane, and the cone has shifted closer to Tampa Bay.
Miami has also seen its share of heavy rain from the outer bands. The network's Kenneth Bueno has been tracking Ian from the control center.
As Hurricane Ian battered down western Cuba just a couple of hours ago, Floridians are now gearing up for Ian's full brunt as a Category 3 storm. Hurricane Ian continues to intensify, moving closer to the Gulf of Mexico with the west coast of Florida on pins and needles for the first major storm of the season projected to hit Florida. The storm is forecasted to become a Category 4 hurricane with winds of upwards of 140 miles per hour before making landfall in the heart of Tampa. As the storm inches closer to the coast, empty store shelves, long lines at gas stations, and Z4 precaution offer shades of the last time a major hurricane touched down in central Florida, Hurricane Irma, in 2017. Michael Brennan, the acting deputy director of NOAA, warned of serious storm surges.
Inundation of up to 5 to 8 feet above ground level. That's life-threatening storm surge. It's, I'm 6 feet tall, so that's potentially water 2 feet above my head.
St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater are all bracing for arrival with evacuation plans in place and hurricane watches in effect. Meanwhile, Key West, residing east of Ian's cone, issued a tropical storm warning. Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency and stated that the National Guard would help efforts in the aftermath.
If you're not necessarily right in the eye of the path of the storm, there's going to be pretty broad impacts throughout the state. You're going to have wind, you're going to have water, there could be flooding.
Ian is expected to strike western Cuba before traveling northeast into the mainland by midweek. However, all eyes turn to a jet stream moving to the south, which may have a direct effect on direction and strength. Ian is expected to reach central Florida by tomorrow evening, and evacuations have already begun as the state patiently waits for the storm's arrival. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Kenneth Bueno.
North Carolina is being flooded with Floridians this morning who are looking for a safe place to wait out Hurricane Ian. Some of them arriving in Raleigh yesterday. For some, this situation is new and they're feeling anxious about the uncertainty. So that gives them the opportunity to reach out to old friends.
She texted me and I was super happy to have her, so I was very happy.
And this was my choice, Raleigh.
Meanwhile, power crews from Oklahoma are heading in the other direction. They're coming to Florida to help with the hurricane's impact and make sure Floridians who lose power can get it back.
As Hurricane Ian inches closer to Tampa Bay, a hospital is ready to defend themselves against its impact. With storm surge flooding set to affect Tampa General Hospital, aqua fences were positioned around the facility in efforts to protect its equipment, patients, and staff. The 10-foot tall barriers are built with a technology that uses the flooding to keep it in place and secure it to the ground.
The International Space Station providing a view of Hurricane Ian from space. NASA shared the video yesterday of Hurricane Ian from the International Space Station, which is currently hovering in orbit over 260 miles away from the storm. In the video, Ian can be seen gaining strength south of Cuba and moving towards Florida.
NASA scientists are crunching the numbers this morning after successfully crashing a spacecraft with no crews into asteroids. As Juliana Narvaez from our DC Bureau reports, the point of last night's collision was to learn how to prevent future threats to our planet.
A NASA spacecraft the size of a golf cart was set to strike a 500-foot non-threatening asteroid last night to set it off its path. This is the first mission to ever assess whether asteroids could be deflected should one be found on a collision course with Earth.
The Hollywood movies Deep Impact and Armageddon are all about a giant asteroid hitting the Earth. While that is all fiction and scientists don't anticipate that kind of disaster happening, what NASA scientists did was what they would call a just-in-case moment, deliberately moving an asteroid away so that it would never hit Earth. And NASA says this experiment was successful.
It's been a successful completion of the first part of the world's first planetary defense test. And there were years of hard work. There was a lot of innovation and creativity that went into this mission. And I believe it's going to teach us how one day to protect our own planet from an incoming asteroid.
NASA's goal was not to obliterate the asteroid, but to change the speed of it by a centimeter per second. Although not very fast, if completed enough seconds in advance, it can cause a potentially threatening asteroid to miss the Earth entirely.
We are showing that planetary defense is a global endeavor, and it is very possible to save our planet.
NASA's spacecraft named DART collided with its target asteroid, Dimorphos. This asteroid was selected due to its orbit around another asteroid, Didymos, as it mimics how potentially threatening near-Earth asteroids orbit the Sun.
The next step of this asteroid test will include scientists monitoring how much Dimorphos has slowed down due to impact. From Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network, this is Juliana Narvaez.
The rise of NFTs have caused collectibles to go virtual. The network's Alexandra Howard has more on a new exhibit here in South Florida.
NFTs have taken over the digital world by storm with its emerging artists and collectors. And now in Dania Beach, it's taking over Mad Art Studio this fall.
The World Today is the largest NFT photography exhibition ever made, showcasing photos from photographic artists, and we spoke to the creator of this event about the creative process.
So this event originated on the blockchain, and when I heard of the project, I fell in love with the idea that there were going to be 138 artists that were going to offer images of the world around them and their region of the world. So I immediately asked them that I wanted to try to bring the show from the blockchain to the physical gallery.
NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, is a record on a blockchain associated with a digital or physical asset that can later be sold or traded to others by the NFT owner. Alejandro Cartagena explained the impact that this event has for artists in the NFT community.
We work with emerging artists to help them put together shows and projects that they would ordinarily, have trouble putting together. We give them resources, then we give them a place to exhibit it, and the exhibits are always free.
Visitors with a crypto wallet were able to scan any image's barcode to see the NFT auction of that photo and become a crypto art creator. If you choose to invest your time here, the World Today will be open until November 19th. I'm Alexandra Howard reporting for South Florida Media Network.
Some uninvited guests in a high school gym put homecoming plans on hold.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
We wanted to make something that was the most iconic scene from the show, something maybe no one else would try and do.
Halloween decorations inspired by the Upside Down. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
A special effect in anticipation of Halloween. A set of Halloween decorations are going viral this morning.
As the network's Elizabeth Garcia reports, they were inspired by a hit Netflix show.
The clock is ticking to finish sprucing up the final touches of Halloween decorations at this house in Plainfield.
How many do you need?
Dave Appel and his wife Aubrey go big every year. Images from years past shows just how the finished product looks. But this year, there's one prop grabbing everyone's attention.
There's so many people out there who are fanatics like we are, so we wanted to make something that was the most iconic scene from the show, something maybe no one else would try and do.
The family loves the hit Netflix series Stranger Things, so when they decided to replicate a key character, Max, levitating in the air, it left folks perplexed.
How? Or like, you know, where is it coming from? How are they doing that?
Dave and Aubrey created a quick TikTok. Now there's more than 14 million views. Everyone wants to know what's keeping Max afloat.
It's not drones, it's not helium or balloons, and we just felt like it was more fun to keep it under wraps.
The mystery is what's getting the attention.
And while the family isn't ready to reveal this secret just yet, the display is gaining attention, not only from neighbors.
We just saw him on TikTok, so we decided to drive through the neighborhood and check out Max floating in the air.
Is it really catching your attention in the neighborhood? Talk about it.
Yes, very much so. And we have a lot of Stranger Things fans over here behind us, so it's very exciting.
Even Netflix joining in on the fun, calling the Appels their #1 fan. But what's more amazing, they're doing something that's a family and bringing smiles or screams to so many other families.
That's what makes us want to continue doing that, is making the kids happy.
Maybe after Halloween, the Appels will share their secret of how they levitated Max.
A Halloween scare this morning at what was supposed to be a homecoming celebration. Bats found in the gym of a high school near Sacramento, California. Homecoming at Davis Senior High was postponed because of the bats. The district announced they learned about the bloodsuckers on Friday. After consulting with experts, they were unable to get the bats to leave in time for the dance on Saturday. While the school waits for the unwanted visitors to leave, students anticipate getting to hit the dance floor safely.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Amanda Gray.
I'm Leanne Abu Tarbush. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.